What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Say What? Barstool Parlay. Welcome back again, guys. As always, make sure to share, like, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when content's coming out and you can see it. Duh. Anyway, let's get into it. This is a video that I want to talk about because the rumor's starting to circulate now, and it's something that I never talked about because I know Dallas isn't going to do it because they don't do smart things. Let's be real. They don't do smart things. But the rumor is starting to go around that Michael Penix is going to fall late in the first round, and he's more than likely going to be sitting there at 24. Now it's being floated around by ESPN and other places that Dallas should absolutely take Michael Penix at 24. And they absolutely should. They absolutely should. And there's a few reasons for this. One, if you guys don't know, check out the other videos. I said back during the college football playoff, Michael Penix is the best quarterback in this draft. You guys can argue with me about Caleb Williams and Drake May and J.J. McCarthy and all these other guys. Drake May's pro day was terrible. His senior or junior tape, whatever he was this year, is terrible. Caleb Williams holds onto the ball, can't take checks down, cannot read coverage. It's very apparent on the tape. Threw 3 interceptions to the same guy against Notre Dame. Literally a very base NFL-style defense. Totally rattled Caleb Williams this year at Notre Dame. Nonsense. When I rank quarterbacks, I had Bo Nix and Michael Penix as 1 and 2. The only reasons I love Bo Nix, the only reasons that I had him above Michael Penix was because early on, because of Michael Penix medical, I just gave Nix the edge because of the medical. But at the end of the day, when you really go back and look at it, guys, Michael Penix has been healthy for 2 years at Washington. He ran a 4.5 at his pro day. He really helped his stock at his pro day. He looked fantastic at his pro day. And he is by far, he has the most arm talent of any quarterback in this draft. He throws a beautiful deep ball. He really knows how to manipulate coverage with his eyes, move well in the pocket, has great pocket feet, and he proved that he can get outside the pocket and make plays with his legs, and that his legs are healthy running a 4.5 40 at his pro day. So, very, very, very high on Michael Penix, and because he's been healthy for 2 years, the medical is becoming less and less and less of a concern for me, and it was just kind of icing on the cake that, hey, I'm healthy, I'm ready to go, running after those knee injuries at Indiana, running 4.5 at his pro day, really just locked in, hey, this guy's healthy, he's been healthy for 2 years, and he's ready to go. So it absolutely, Dallas should do this because Dallas would get the steal of the draft. Michael Penix is the best quarterback in this draft. And I'm telling you right now, Michael Penix today is an instant upgrade from Dak Prescott. He can make throws today that Dak Prescott cannot make. He can move in the pocket today in ways that Dak Prescott cannot move in the pocket. He gives you the dynamic running ability that you thought you had with Dak Prescott. Is he Lamar Jackson? No. But just that, hey, keep the defense off balance, can scramble for first downs that you thought you were going to get with Dak Prescott that we've never really seen since his leg injury. You're going to get that back with Michael Penix. You're going to be able to run him on read options here and there and put some more of that pressure on the defense with his feet. And like I said, he's just physically has the most arm talent in this draft. So they absolutely should do this, but Dallas never makes smart decisions. And they always let Dak back them into a corner because they're not willing just to pull the trigger on, we're going to move on. They could have moved on and let Dak walk and got Tom Brady and then drafted a guy like a Penix to sit behind him for a couple years, and we wouldn't be in this scenario because that guy would be taking over at this point. They didn't do it. They had a chance to get out from Dak and take a Tom Brady. They didn't do it. You had chances to move up in the drafts when you had capital and things and take guys like, which I was campaigning for, Jordan Love. You had chances to do that. I said back when Joe Burrow came out, I said, if you're Dallas, do whatever you got to do. Give Cincinnati Dak Prescott plus 3 first-rounders and move to number 1 and take Joe Burrow. I mean, there's been ways that Dallas could have got quarterbacks over the years and not been in this situation, and they didn't. And I'm hoping, and we don't know about Trey Lance now, I'm hoping Trey Lance is developing. I like Trey Lance coming out. I knew he wasn't going to be ready to play. He was going to be a developmental guy, but I like him coming out. I like his physical skill set. And we'll see in preseason with Trey Lance, what type of viable option that is, if any. and how far along in his development he is, and we'll get to really nail down those questions and see if that's an option in preseason. But in reality, that was the first move that I've seen Dallas do where they're like, okay, we're going to take some control back in this situation, going and trading for Trey Lance and say, hey, let's see if we can develop this guy. Let's see if we can get some leverage back with Dak. But in reality, Dak Prescott has all the leverage, guys. He has a no trade clause, he has a no tag clause, and he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. So at the end of the day, if you're Dallas, you're running a huge risk here not extending Dak Prescott if you plan on bringing him back. And you don't plan on taking a quarterback here, like I said, unless they really have faith in Trey Lance, which is yet to be seen, unless they really like what they're seeing in practice, they really like his development. If Trey Lance is not ready to play, the position that you're putting yourself in is you're not going to extend Dak Prescott. Like I said, I know they're not going to take Penix at 24. I know they're not going to take a quarterback. You can mark this, book it, put it on the record. They will not take a quarterback at 24. I can guarantee you that. So, should they do it? Absolutely, they should do it. But they absolutely won't. So, the position that they're putting themselves in is they're not going to take a quarterback at 24, which then is going to leave them with no viable quarterback option. Like I said, I'm not going to even include Trey Lance in this because we don't know yet. And we're going to assume that Trey isn't ready. And if he's not ready, or he just is a bust, or whatever the case may be, we're going to assume that he's not the answer. Then you don't have a quarterback on the roster who can start. You don't have a starter on the roster. You didn't draft a quarterback. And then you're running the risk of Dak in 2025 saying, no thanks, I don't want to come back. Like, here's the reality, guys. If you're not going to set yourself up with a plan B, Dak Prescott is an unrestricted free agent. They cannot tag him. They cannot force him to stay here. The Cowboys can turn around next year and cave and say, hey, we'll give you $60 million and overpay him again. They could do that. But here's the reality, is Dak can say, you know what? You've never believed in me. You've never wanted to extend me early. You've always, for 8 years now, been telling me to prove it. I don't feel appreciated here, and I don't care if you offer me $100 million. I'm not coming back. I'm going to go take 60 somewhere else. He 100% can just decline the offers and decide that he doesn't want to be a Cowboy anymore. And then you're going into 2025 with no options, no quarterback, nothing. And so far from what I've seen, there's always guys that pop up. I'm sure there'll be quarterbacks available, but, so far it's not a great quarterback draft next year from what I'm seeing. There's not a whole lot of studs coming out next year. So, I mean, at that point, you're sitting there going, okay, what's my best bet coming out next year? Quinn Ewers, who I'm not a huge fan of, has some arm talent, but throws a lot of picks, has turnover, not a huge fan of Ewers. So, you're literally putting yourself in a position where you could potentially have no quarterback in 2025. Like, literally no quarterback. Or you're just going to give Trey Lance a small extension who's not ready to play and just essentially bomb the whole season because you didn't have a plan ready to go. So that's the position that they're putting themselves in. And I think that's where a lot of these people, they're like, oh yeah, hold out with Dak, don't pay him, this and that. I'm on board with that. I wouldn't pay him either. I don't want to do that. Because like I said, that's my pet peeve, is all this middle of the road guys, they're the next guy up and they get the most money. Why? He hasn't accomplished what Burrow has accomplished. He hasn't accomplished what Mahomes has accomplished. He hasn't accomplished what Lamar Jackson has accomplished. He hasn't accomplished what Josh Allen has accomplished. He hasn't accomplished what Matt Stafford has accomplished. He hasn't accomplished any of those things. So why would I pay him similar money to those guys? And I'm not just talking about Super Bowl accomplishments. I'm talking about total career accomplishments. Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl. Dak hasn't. Joe Burrow, his only real healthy season, he was at a Super Bowl, and he's been to an AFC Championship game. He's been to 2 AFC Championships. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's won an AFC Championship game. Like, Joe Burrow has pelts on the wall. You can sit there and say that he doesn't because he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's got pelts on the wall. Lamar Jackson has pelts on the wall. He's been to AFC championship games. He's won an MVP. Josh Allen, for all the turnovers and stuff, I don't think Josh Allen's as good as everybody cracks him up to be, but Josh Allen has pelts on the wall. He's been to an AFC championship game. He took Mahomes to the wire. Obviously, Mahomes is on a Brady-esque pace with his career. MVPs, Super Bowls. Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl in LA. He's got pelts on the wall. Dak doesn't. So why would I pay him the same amount of money that I'd be paying those guys? Why would I pay a guy like Dak Prescott, who's never even won a divisional playoff game, more money than Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Matthew Stafford? Why would I do that? That makes no sense. And this is something that in the last 10 years is something that's happening where it's the next guy up gets the most money. This was never a thing before. You used to get paid based on like the tier you were in. They used to talk about and say, hey, listen, man, you have similar career accomplishments to this guy or that guy, and they make this much, so we feel that you should take something in this ballpark. You know, it used to be guys like Mahomes or Manning or Brady. Like Manning would top Brady, but then Brady would top Manning, or Breeze would top Brady, things like that. Not Jay Cutler getting paid more than Peyton Manning because he's the next guy up. It's never been a thing. And I think we're starting to see that come back to reality, is these quarterback salaries are just getting absurd. And now we're seeing guys like Baker Mayfield who, okay, you're a middle-of-the-road guy. We're going to pay you as a middle-of-the-road guy. Obviously, Kirk Cousins made money. He got a good deal, but he didn't get top-of-the-market money. You're here. Started bringing it back down a little bit. Didn't break the bank with the Kirk Cousins deal. It's a good deal for Kirk. He's making a lot of money, but probably more than what he's worth. But at the end of the day, it's not top-of-the-market money. And that's where we should be seeing with Dak. And Dak should absolutely be sitting here going, hey, I'll take the quote-unquote hometown discount, because he knows that he needs players around him. He knows that he needs a run game. He knows that he is not Patrick Mahomes. And he should know that they need room to put pieces around him, and he should be willing to do that to get pieces put around him. But on the other side, from Dak's perspective, I understand what he's saying. Derrick Henry was available, and you didn't go get him. Stephon Gilmore's still available to get brought back to help our secondary even more, and you're not going to re-sign him. You're not doing anything. So why would I give you a break? You don't ever sign anybody. You don't ever do anything. You let Michael Gallup go. You haven't brought anybody in to replace him. You didn't go take a flyer on an Odell. You didn't go get a Calvin Ridley. You didn't do anything. So why am I giving you the discount for? What is the money going to be used for? Clearly nothing. So why would I give you a discount? And I understand it from that side, from Dak Prescott. If I was Dak, I probably wouldn't give Jerry a discount either, because I know he's not going to spend the money on anything that's going to help me. He's not going to use that money to re-sign Tyron Smith. He's not going to use that money to go say, well, we want to move on from Tyron, but we'll go get Bakhtiari. He's not going to use that money for anything like that. He's not going to do that stuff. So I understand that from Dak Prescott's side, and that's probably how I would feel. But on the other side, like I said, guys, the whole point of you're in the position where Dak Prescott, you cave to Dak Prescott again and overpay him and strap your salary cap is something we 100% should not do. You absolutely should not be paying Dak Prescott $60 million for zero career accomplishments. At some point, something has to change, guys. We know the head coach is probably going to change. At some point, the quarterback has to change. 8 years is a big sample size. The guy has a horrendous losing record against playoff teams. A horrendous losing record against teams that are above 500. It's bad. And who do you play in the playoffs? Oh, yeah, you have to beat playoff teams, which Dak has never done his entire career. Damn. Something's got to change. And I'm not going to pay a guy $60 million who can't beat playoff teams. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, you look at his record throughout his career, guys, it's something like he's got like 9 wins or something like that. You guys can look it up, post in the comments. It's something like 9 wins against playoff teams. What? And let me tell you, like 3 of those wins were his rookie year. So if you take those 3 off, then we're we're less than 1 win a year against playoff teams the last like 7 years. That's not good. That's not good at all. So you're telling me there's years where we go 0-0. We go 0 wins against playoff teams. There's years where we don't beat a playoff team all year. Whew. Yeah. Don't want to pay that guy $60 million. Yeah, just not interested. So, no, they absolutely should not overpay Dak. But like I said, whether you want to pay Dak or not, the real point of this that everybody is missing is Dak has the potential to walk. Dak has the potential to say, you know what? This is 2 contracts that I've done with you guys now. You've offended me on both of them. I want out. You constantly publicly criticize things that I'm doing. You constantly are publicly saying you don't know with your actions that I'm the answer. Every other quarterback gets paid and they have commitment and the teams go all in to keep their guy, and you guys keep telling me that you're not sure about me, that you don't know if I'm the guy. And like I said, this is the point that people are missing. Dak Prescott can say no. They can't trade him. They can't tag him. And they can offer him a contract and say, oh, yeah, and end up overpaying and offering a contract and say, oh, yeah, I don't know, Washington on the open market offered me $70 million a year. And Dallas can then say, well, shit, we don't have a backup plan. Give him $70 million a year. And Dak says, no, I'm good. They actually appreciate me. They want me. You want me because you don't plan ahead. You don't have a backup plan. You don't actually want me. You're trying to figure out a way to get out from under me. You're just too stupid to figure out how to do it. No, they actually want me. They offered me a contract in 15 minutes. It's been 8 years with you guys, and you're still not willing to offer me a contract. So, that's the part is Dak can walk away, and there's nothing Dallas can do about it. He can say that he's decided it's time for him to move on, and he doesn't want to be a Cowboy anymore, and they have no plan. They have nothing, which is why you absolutely should be drafting Michael Penix this year, because it's not going to cost you draft capital. Because the only way to do this, guys, is the only way to protect yourselves from Dak Prescott just saying, I don't want to be here anymore. You guys don't appreciate me, and I'm fed up with this. I'm fed up with you telling me that I need to play out my contract and prove it 8 years in, prove that I'm a starter 8 years in. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of playing for a team who doesn't think I'm good enough to be their quarterback. The only way to prevent that from happening is to trade Dak Prescott right now. And I understand what you go, well, he's got no trade clause. A no trade clause doesn't mean that you can't trade him. It means that you can't trade him someplace that he doesn't want to go. You can't forcefully trade him. But if you can work out with a Washington or a New England or one of these other teams that need a quarterback, if you can work out a trade package that you like for Dak Prescott with one of these teams, and Dak agrees to it, you could make that move. So you absolutely can trade him if you find a deal that he will agree to. And that's, the other risk that you put yourself in is he might not agree to any deal because he says, I want to shop with all the teams. I don't want to be traded. I want to shop with all the teams in this offseason because I have the right to do that and there's nothing you can do about it, which is the most likely scenario. But at the end of the day, if I'm Dallas, Michael Penix at 24 is your golden parachute. It is your safety net. Because if Dak walks next year, then what are you doing? You're going to have to mortgage your whole future to try to move up to get some quarterback next year. And then what? Then what? And then what if the guy doesn't work out? What if the guy is a bust? And like I said, I don't think it's a very good quarterback draft next year. And you're moving up to get a guy who may or may not work out. When we got guys, like I said, in this draft, in Michael Penix, that is a surefire 100% is going to work out. Michael Penix will be a starter in this league. He is going to be a great player in this league. It's just a matter of whether he can stay healthy. And so far, he proved at Washington the last 2 years that he's moving past that. So, at the end of the day, like I said, if you're Dallas, you're in the position where you have to protect yourself from Dak wanting to walk away. And Michael Penix at 24, you don't have to trade up. You don't have to give up capital to go get a guy. It's a perfect out. Now, like I said, Dallas 100% isn't going to do it. And we're going to be sitting here next offseason going, what the hell are they going to do at quarterback? What is the plan? And nobody's going to know. But the smart thing to do would be get the best quarterback in this draft, Michael Penix. And Dak's on a one-year deal. He can sit behind Dak. You can really get him ready to play. And when Dak walks in 2025, you have Michael Penix sitting right there. And at the end of the day, you could, which is what I would do, if you could find a partner that wants to dance with you and that Dak is interested in, get Michael Penix, get him ready to play, and try to trade Dak this year so you get some compensation back for Dak. Because you absolutely can get assets for him. You absolutely can get compensation. The total L for this organization is letting Dak walk for free. There is a team that will absolutely pay you multiple first-round draft picks to get him. Absolutely. Some quarterback needy team will overpay you for Dak Prescott. It's just a matter of whether you can entice Dak Prescott to go along with that. And if you could, that's the route that you need to go. But if you can't, then you can at least bail yourself out of this horrendous scenario that you've put yourself in by saying, yeah, Dak walked for nothing. But on the plus side, we got a franchise quarterback in Michael Penix, already on the roster, ready to go. We already have our franchise quarterback, so we're good. So, like I said, that's the idea that's been floating around. Like I said, I never talked about it on the channel because it's 100% not going to happen. And Dallas is 100% too stupid to do it. But that is absolutely what they should do. That is absolutely the route that they should go to protect themselves moving forward with the best quarterback in this draft. As always, guys, raw takes, no apologies. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when the new content's coming out. Until next time, guys, peace out.